Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, a video game music podcast. Episode 18-5. How you doing? My name is Rob Nichols.
And I'm Pernell.
Every week we hang out and listen to great video game music of all consoles and all generations. And this week is no different. We have some amazing tunes today.
Well, speak for yourself. I went weird on this, so it could go either way.
This is one of our experimental episodes.
Yes, and in the sense that I came up with the topic, but put no thought into what it meant. So when I threw it to Rob, he did what he does, and I did what I do eventually. And we came up with our own picks, but the actual topic itself is, what is it now?
Is Capcom Chaos. Was this from a listener suggestion, or did you just shoot it at me one day?
I just thought of it one day.
Like, Capcom Chaos.
I think I was having a thing for alliteration at the time.
Yeah.
And it was just like, Capcom Chaos! That's 2 C's! I can work with that.
I like it. I like it very much.
I feel like that's become a big thing. Like I'll write a Hey Poor Player review, and it'll be like every couple paragraphs they'll have like a header for it, and I'm always like, how many words can I link that start with the same letter? You know?
I have noticed that, but like you kind of talk that way already. So it's like, oh, it's just Pernell, like just talking like Pernell, like it's fine.
Like maniacal mecha madness means mean. Metric mayhem. I don't know.
To me, it's like it's more authentic. Also authentic is tea. So I made you some black tea.
Yes, because it's been a day. I am dying here.
Yeah.
It's been a day where it's been like thoughts haven't been the best, and work's been driving me nuts. So then I got home from work. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go punch a bag. And I went and punched a bag for a bit.
Yep,
and I don't think I burned as many calories as I would have liked. And yeah, I came out of there exhausted.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was just the type of exercise they had me doing today, but it was draining.
Yeah, sometimes when you, your sleep isn't great, or you haven't had enough calories ahead of time, or your body hasn't like processed the calories, then when you go to exercise, you're just wiped out already. And it's really hard to tell, like, oh, is this a good exercise or not a good exercise? I mean, either way, it's good to do.
Oh, yeah.
But it's hard to tell, like, oh, did I get a lot out of this when you're already just wiped out? I have been there a few times. I
appreciate it because, like I said, it's kicking me now. Like I had between that and like general bad date-itis and all that, it's driving me nuts. I'm running on fumes, but there is some good news too.
Oh,
I am actually reviewing my first, I think would be called a AAA game.
A AAA game?
Yes.
Does that mean you have to spend 50 hours, shooting down aliens on another planet?
Let's be real here. But I will spend as much time as required to get a good, solid feel for the game.
Oh, you're talking Bungie? We're talking EA? We're talking
Bethesda?
Acclaim?
Bethesda?
We're talking
Acclaim?
Codemasters?
Dude, I don't mean to alarm you, but I got a real game in the works. Actually, I can't even think of an Acclaim game right now. That's how long they've been going.
LJN?
Now, LJN I can think of. I got a hot review for that Nightmare on Elm Street on the NES coming through.
AAA Nightmare on Elm Street.
Honestly, I wish it was a AAA game because I liked that game. But this is Rage 2.
Okay, yeah. I've seen it advertised. I don't know what it is.
Be honest, I've been playing it for a good couple of hours already, and I couldn't even tell you what it is. I've noticed something when it comes to games that I play and review. Mm-hmm. A lot of the time, they give you a plot, and I guess the logic is that they have to give you some narrative to link the events together.
Ooh.
And I get a lot of people are fans of these plots. But for me, I end up getting into them like, I don't really care about most of these people.
Yeah, it's not narrative. Like you like narrative first, right? So where you're reading, it pulls you in first, gets you to care about these people or these things, and then you're invested in the game.
This is true.
Right.
This is 100%.
However,
there are the also times where the story doesn't. And this has happened a lot since I started doing reviews too, because you have to dive in. You have to go deeper than the I'm done already.
Yeah.
And
calling it quits.
Calling it quits. I don't like the main character. I quit. But in this case, especially what ends up happening is you get into the gameplay itself, and the gameplay loop feels great.
Okay,
it's a FPS. but it's one of those wacky FPSs where like you can do weird stuff. And though it does attempt every once in a while to be taken seriously, it usually finds itself going back to so I'm this guy who can like force push guys off of cliffs and drive a sentient truck, and it's a lot of fun. Like, I've found myself very much enjoying it. The review itself will be, I guess this episode comes out on Monday of this week because, hey, you're listening to it. But, so the review itself should be on Wednesday of this week.
Okay, cool.
But, like, it's been good. And then
if you're listening to us from the future, that's May 2019.
Yes.
There you go.
May 20th.
We're really bad with dates right now. It's fine. I'm gonna own that.
If it involves the word date, I'm bad at it. Across the board.
Oh.
But like, yeah, I've been playing that. I'm still playing. Our World Has Ended. I can't even. I don't understand.
You want to see that one through, right?
I want to see it through.
You want to see what happens.
But if you were to say, have you ever played a game where you find that you're invested to see a conclusion? It's kind of like Game of Thrones for a lot of people right now. But, well, I guess at this point it'll be done by the time this episode comes out. But, you know, you're invested in it, and then you start seeing things you don't like characters acting in a certain way, and you're like, oh, come on, you guys, it's been this many hours, you should have grown out of that bad behavior by now. But you still want to see the plot run through. So you deal with the stuff you don't like because you want to see that cool layer of plot get resolved. And that's happening where they'll have a sequence where like they have like a deep, revelation was like, oh wow, I've actually been hiding the fact that I'm actually an insecure such and such and such. And all their friends will be like, don't worry about it. I'm insecure too. It's about working through it together. We can just be ourselves. And they have this nice, relaxing conversation with each other. And everybody comes out resolved. And then they go back to the main storyline and they're jerks again. It's like, well, didn't you learn anything? You were trapped in a computer world for 2 months. And you took that long to realize that you could be okay being insecure. And then you just forgot it all.
Well, he wasn't working on that in 2 months. He was working on, I don't know, leveling up that sword that he got.
Yeah, Excalibur or whatever. It was like Climax Excalibur. Ridiculous. It's got a weird plot.
Yeah.
But it's honestly, the story is actually kind of cool in its own weird way. Like, it goes into some stuff involving, like, VR technology and augmented reality.
Okay.
And it's, honestly, I like those elements of it. It's cool. But like, and aside from that, like, it's just like a sea of stuff. Oh, I got to mention this last thing. I know it's like, God, geez, Pernell.
No, that's fine.
I posted about it in Rhythm and Pixels chat. Like, I shared the review there, but
the Facebook group with rhythm is a dancer. Pixels in chat.
That's right.
Pixels in chat.
Pixels in chat. In case you listen to the review proper, the game is called For the King. If you like tabletop RPG type stuff.
Oh, that's right.
We were
talking
board
about that
games.
last week, yeah.
Yes. Oh, I forgot I even mentioned it last week, but no harm in mentioning it again this week because it's that friggin' good. It's different in a way that I haven't played anything like it that's not a board game.
Well, I think last week you said that you were going home to review it that night.
Ah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that looks really neat. And you're like, hey, you should get on it too. And now you're saying it's solid.
It's a solid, sweet
cool.
deal.
All right.
Sweet diggums.
It looks cool.
I was reviewing Shakedown Hawaii alongside it, and I'm like, that's not the gym. This is the gym.
That's all. I like if I ever get like two games at the same time, I tend to like kind of fade one out because one usually like, oh, I'm really much more into this one, and I'm not giving this other game a fair shake because it's like, oh well. It's not this game.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And the sad
part is
it's
totally not fair. Totally not fair.
Oh, no. The problem is
anyway.
when the review kick happens, though, like, you almost can't do that, but you mentally kind of want to. So what you're doing is you're like, I'm putting in the time, but while you're doing it, you're kind of like, I really want to go back to For the King.
Yeah.
That's what I want to be doing right now, but I got to be fair. But, man, Jeebus. Now I just need some more Capcom games to do, but honestly, I don't know what Capcom's doing these days.
Who knows? I'll tell you what, though. This episode's all about the crazy Capcom.
Actually, I'm curious to see what you took it to mean with the Capcom carousel.
Yeah, so I took it to mean anything weird, like arrangements of tracks that were in ports of their game on different systems, like so games that were released on the PlayStation then came out on Game Boy, or 3DO versions of things, or even like like a remix album, like a weird arrangement album that came out. So
Oh.
a little bit of bonus round material, a little bit of everything.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
This isn't like stage 4 from Mega Man X4.
Yeah. No one here did that.
Well, that's not what that's not where I went with it.
I actually was surprised I didn't do that either. So
okay, cool.
We're on the same page.
Well, sir,
are we talking odd right now?
this is your pick. I'm glad you could come to this meeting. The boardroom is yours.
All right. Let's get this party started.
We have the Capcom owners, CEO, CFO, CCO, CTIO.
I have a number of good
CIO.
picks for this one. All these abbreviations that mean like 90 different things. No one knows what we're talking about. So for this first track,
Take it away, Pernell. I'm sorry.
I call this meeting to order. I'm going to.
I'm sorry.
I'm teasing you too.
I've done this before, and I'm the only one laughing.
I'm laughing internally.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
This track is I'm using this as a good excuse to play a track from this game.
Yeah.
Is from the game Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne. And the track is titled Dante Battle. And it's composed by Toshiko Tasaki. Hope you like it. Sorry, I didn't see you there. I was kind of dancing over here to this weird funky beat. This beat being the Dante battle from the game Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne.
It's an evil dance beat.
Oh, it's an evil dance.
Yeah, man. This reminds me of like KMFDM or Fear Factory, which is probably why I was like doing like the whole Mortal Kombat dance.
At one point you mentioned Wipeout also.
Yeah, I think it's that bing 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 bing, like that kind of like weird bing 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 bing. Yeah, it reminds me of Wipeout, like from the first Wipeout game, not the licensed tracks or the later ones. No, I love the licensed music of Wipeout.
Oh, I need to get back to it. Honestly, I am a big fan of that series, even though I'm horrendous at it because I'm not the best at games that emphasize, racing games that emphasize heavy speed.
Oh yeah, Wipeout
and narrow corridors.
Yeah, Wipeout is where you have to like make your turn like 4 seconds before the turn happens. Yeah. If you're ever gonna make it at speed.
And I never did.
Yeah, it's all.
But I try.
A lot of memorization. But no, tell me about this track because this is cool. It's boss music.
Yes, more or less. So what it is the game, like I mentioned earlier, Shin Megami Tensei 3. So you're thinking, what the heck are you talking about? What does that have to do with Capcom? Well, there was a period, for whatever reason, the director of Devil May Cry was a big fan of, I want to say it was with Kazuma Kaneko, who is the main artist for those earlier Shin Megami Tensei games, and vice versa. He's a big fan of the Devil May Cry franchise.
Okay, that all tracks.
So what ended up happening was they had a bit of a swap collaboration where for an expanded version of Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, they'd had a extra dungeon that was put in, and they also added the character Dante into the game. And he has like his own little small subplot where he's like a demon hunter in the apocalypse, hunting you down and also hunting down all the other fiends, the fiends that you are also killing throughout the game. So it ends up being interesting. He's eventually hunting you down, and he's actually stalking you through a dungeon, and you have to outrun him as he's shooting at you and you're running away from him. And if you manage to outrun him long enough, he then just battles you flat out. And he has Ebony and Ivory as 2 guns. He has Rebellion, the sword. And he's just out there fighting you and your demons. But if you ultimately beat him, he joins your party. So it's you and a bunch of demons and Dante the Demon Slayer against Lucifer. It's pretty cool.
Dude, Shin Megami Tensei is wild.
It really
Absolutely
is.
wild. And it's somehow this music really captures all that craziness. I feel anyway.
And I also should mention, in case someone's like learning this for the first time and then through this episode, the Devil May Cry half of the collaboration was that in Devil May Cry 3, there was a point where you gain the ability for Dante to go into what's called a demon trigger mode, or devil trigger.
Okay.
And he becomes a demon, and he can fight super powered up. Well, the design of the demon character for him and Virgil was done by Kazumi Kaneko. So there's your little bit of a crossover
Got a
footage there.
little link there. So this is Capcom chaos. Capcom's influence and connections
To other games.
to other games. I love it. See, that's all you, because I would never know these things. That's super cool. I love it. I love Shin Megami Tensei music. My music sounds nothing like this. All of my tracks are.
I'm genuinely curious about how you took this topic.
Okay, so I am going to start with. I gotta start super smooth. All right, this is Pocket Fighter.
Really?
So not just the sequel to Street Fighter, not just Darkstalkers, the fighting game with
Is this the Neo Geo Pocket
Morgan.
game?
No, this is the one where all of the characters from Puzzle Fighter.
Oh,
This is where
right.
they came from. So it's tiny, chibi little versions of Capcom fighter characters duking it out. But when they do combos, they transform into
Yeah, Felicia
cartoony
becomes Mega
characters.
Man.
Exactly, they look super silly. And when you knock people out, they drop gems, and you pick up the gems to power up your supers. It's super cute. It's super fun. The music is fantastic. But when they released an album, when the official soundtrack for the Capcom Sports Club arcade game, which I've never seen before.
Actually, hold that thought. I recommend let's start your track.
Okay.
And then you can explain it while it's running.
Okay, so this is called Nightbinder, which is Outside Makai, Moonlight Dark Castle, which is the Morgan stage from Pocket Fighter. And this is from the arranged album with the Capcom Sports Club called Pocket Fighter Remix. And it's composed by Isao Abe, who composed the Sagat theme from Street Fighter 2,
I mean, we're already in for something sweet.
and Tetsuya Shibata. here.
Ooh, fanfare. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. We love you. We got no money
That was
to give you, but we love you.
That was Nightbinder, or Outside Makai, the Moonlight Dark Castle, Morrigan stage from Pocket Fighter, the Pocket Fighter remix / Capcom Sports Club arranged album composed by Isao Abe and Tetsuya Shibata.
Okay, now give us the sweet explanation of that ridiculously long title.
Okay. So there is an original soundtrack to Pocket Fighter, and the music is done by, I know Isao Abe did some of the tracks, and Yuki, I forget her last name. She also did the majority of the music for Pocket Fighter.
Oh.
It's very, very good. It's very synthy, and like it's imagine Marvel Capcom and Marvel Capcom 2. It's on that tip. When Capcom Sports Club, when they released that official OST, along, like, it was a double disc set, and the second disc was Pocket Fighter remix, and it was all arrangements of the Pocket Fighter music alongside the music from Capcom Sports Club, because it was all the same composers and artists.
That's pretty cool.
And I started listening to it because I was going to play some Pocket Fighter for the show, because I was like, oh, this is like, it's a sequel of a weird remix of a game.
Do you still have Pocket Fighter?
No, I never had it. I remember someone had a import / maybe burn of it. Mm-hmm. I've never owned it myself.
I feel like that might have been what happened. Either I played someone else's copy, or I used to have a burn, because for some dumb reason I wasn't big on fighters in general.
Yeah,
but I feel like this should have been like a fighter I would have picked up because of how wacky it was.
It's so weird. It's such a weird game. I think it's only like 2 or 3 buttons. It's like a punch and a kick, but like it's certain combinations of things to get like really weird animated combos out of it. But the arranged album on this is so cool. I love the weird fake saxophone and the slap bass on top of the synth bass. Oh, it's so slick. Such a slick combination.
One day I'll need to stand next to like a slap bass or just like a cello and see how tall it is.
Oh, an upright bass, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And to see how it compares to me standing because of how tall I am. Because every time you see a person stand next to one, they're like average height.
They are pretty big. I know. I remember they're pretty, like, from band in high school. They're pretty large, but Capcom.
Wait, you were in band?
I was in an electronic music class that was like experimental, like they were trying it out, and so like it was me and a bunch of bandos.
So what instrument did you play? Was it just like, like playing electric keyboards?
I was the one with like the actual like computer experience. And so like I knew like the recording equipment and the software and the sampling. But I couldn't play, saxophone.
I just got to picture you in the back of the class with the teacher's trying to teach and like, well, actually, sir, if you decide to pitch bend just slightly there, you'll get a reverb sound. Like, I can't even fake the words because I don't even know. Arpeggio effect. That's the best I can do.
I did a lot. Everything I did was like really rhythmic. I did like a lot of like drum programming and stuff. I had a lot of fun. And when the teacher wasn't around, we would, like, the instruments were just in the room. We would just pick them up and play them.
Oh, so you were doing like garage band type stuff in the classroom.
It's like, oh, I never played this before. What does this sound like?
That sounds like it would be a lot of fun, honestly.
It was a lot of fun. I was really fortunate that I had that class. That teacher isn't there anymore, and actually, I don't think they have a band anymore.
How did the class itself fare? Did you say it was experimental? Did they keep it around?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Like, did they keep it around beyond your graduation, or at least at your graduation?
I don't know. Like I said, I know the teacher isn't there anymore, and I know that they don't have a band anymore. Like, there's no music program.
That sucks.
No, that's our school district right now. It's a shame. But I was really lucky that enough people were interested to sign up for the class, and the teacher was learning with us as he was doing it. So we learned all of like the technology and everything behind like MIDI and all the old stuff from back in the day.
Kangin', baby.
Yeah.
Like, you guys want to learn how Kangin' was written?
He had a friend who brought in a Yamaha synth module that we plugged into the computer, and it was cool. It's like a module that only plays the sounds. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not a keyboard on it. So you plug it to a keyboard, you can play the music on it. And so it was like a legit like sound module from Yamaha. Okay, the cheesy audience that's like clearly just like snipped into it. I love that too. This is a cool track.
I do like it, and it makes me want to go back and play Pocket Fighter for a bit, or even maybe Puzzle Fighter, the game that I abandoned many years ago.
It's so much fun though. Puzzle Fighter is just fun.
Yeah, just don't let me play any children because
don't play children.
Yeah, I don't need that embarrassment. I told you know what happened. The freaking like grade score 99 comboed
Yeah.
me. He's like, I've never played before.
Got the sad piano behind me when we're talking about it.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Pour me another one, Doc.
I need a drink.
I gotta tell you about my professional puzzle fighter days. When a 6-year-old came in, didn't know what he was doing. Did a 99 hit
My
combo.
entire entourage just left me. I thought they loved me. Turned out they were just there for my puzzle fighting abilities.
Wow, Pernell, looks like you've seen some things in your day. Hey, well, Doc. His name's Doc. Well, Doc.
Doc Tender.
I'm only 13.
I'm only 13.
I'm only 30 years old. Like, not a day over 65.
It makes me wonder, would I feel worse if a 6-year-old beat me at Puzzle Fighter while I was 13? I feel like the age difference there is close enough I wouldn't even care.
I feel like you're so competitive that if anybody beat you,
That is true.
it'd be done.
Yeah, but
You'd be so pissed.
I guess with a kid around, if I threw the controller, I'd look very childish.
Well,
I had to contain it.
Oh, man. Yeah, that kid still has an indentation of like a Genesis controller in the back of his head.
Funny thing is,
ABC.
If Taylor Sewell is listening to the show still these days, this happened at NecoCon R. So you might actually remember that if you dig deep enough into your memories there.
Do they still do NecoCon?
They still do NecoCons. I don't know what they're up to now. They probably started using like Greek letters or something to track it.
NecoCon Alpha.
NecoCon Gamma, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
But the cons are still around. Honestly, the con scene as a whole blows me for a loop though. Because
Me too. It just like I remember we were at like Geekdom Con, which was just cosplay, like whatever. But had people. Oh no, it was at MagFest, and they had people, like advertising and selling tickets to KatsuCon, which is like when you and I started first hanging out back in like 99, 98. Like that's crazy.
Dude, that was we were hanging out in 2000.
2000.
Yeah, actually not even. I think it was 2001 or 2002. There we go. Memory's solid.
Still, like that's crazy. Like
It's never going away. It's a money making machine, and the best part is, anybody who's like affiliated with doing conventions, let me know. But like, to my knowledge, they borderline manage themselves, not so much in the setting them up because you still have to put in the work of doing that.
there's a lot of
But
moving parts, I'm sure.
Yeah, but the audience keeps it going because you don't really have to give them anything.
And the fandom as a whole, like as a thing, it's just growing and growing and growing.
Because you have to question, what do they really offer people anymore aside from a gathering space? Because it's not a matter of seeing new shows because anime is extremely accessible now.
Right, and like buying toys and things that you can't get anywhere because
the internet.
You go on Amazon.
Yeah, the internet can take care of that.
Wild, yeah.
The artist alley, I'll admit, still has some appeal.
I have noticed that the cons that we've been to recently, like Too Many Games and all that other stuff, like it's like the dealers floor. Of course, there's going to be like a lot of like the classic games dealers, but there's so many artists and like original artists and individual artists selling their own stuff, and it's awesome to see that.
Yeah, to me, that's like the main appeal I would get out of any of that.
I'm like, oh, I want to get this thing that's related to Ryu from Street Fighter, but like this person does like a really crazy version of it. I'm like, that's awesome. Like you wouldn't see that anywhere.
And I'll do spontaneous buys there that I wouldn't do if I was browsing their Etsy shop.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, well, I'm here, and
you're here, and you're offering me a 5% discount. See the applause, the game now.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, all right. Well, the track's over. Got the applause.
Oh, thank you.
Pernell, what's your next track? Because that track couldn't have been any more far different from your first one.
Well, I got a surprise for you. That's about to happen again. So,
okay, all right.
You mentioned the Morrigan, so I'm going to pick a track that I feel fits this episode theme. I think I did that all three of these, or four of them, or whatever. But this track is from the game, which I've actually brought up on the show a long time ago, called Cross Edge. And the track title is called Cataclysm in Oracle, and is composed by Kaneko Kenji. Welcome back. You're listening to Cataclysm and Oracle from the game Cross Edge, composed by Kaneko Kenji. Now, this may be more of a divisive track, I'll admit, but personally, I think it's a good jam. It plays as a boss theme in the game Cross Edge.
Yeah.
And it honestly, in my opinion, gets your energy up when you're trying to deal with it because, well, you hear it. It's neither light nor airy. So why in the world would I pick this track for this episode? Well, Cross Edge is a game that was developed by Idea Factory, but is a crossover RPG that features characters from a number of different companies and a number of different franchises.
Okay.
So, for example, there's characters from the Atelier series, such as Atelier Marie. You're probably, who the heck is that? Funny thing, I said the same thing back then. The Skya characters are in the game, a number of original characters in the game, and there's also characters from Darkstalkers in the game. There's Dimitri, Felicia, Lilith.
Oh, cool.
What's the name of that jerk? I can't remember his name.
Donovan?
No, not Donovan. It's like a Jeddah. And it's pretty much those guys. There's like one other character. Morgan. Morgan's in it too.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, it's interesting to see these characters interact with other characters because aside from like their in-game cinemas, they really didn't have a lot of characterization to them.
Yeah. In fighting games, it's kind of like you get like in between fights every once in a while. It's like I've traveled the road fighting for my family, and then like you fight like 5 dudes in a row
that have nothing to do with what he's trying to do.
Nothing to do with it. And then like the end of the game is and you walk alone back into the field of battle, and then the credits roll, and you're like, oh wow, okay, that was his motivation all along.
Like it gets me back to that earlier topic where I was like, I just don't care about the plot. I just want to beat guys up.
If the game loop and if the gameplay is like they should just sort of just step back,
just let it happen.
Let it happen.
So in this game, it ended up being interesting to watch like Morgan be treated like a hero character, and Dimitri and Lilith are villains, though Lilith is sort of like a mixed villain. Like she's kind of tethered on both ends.
A little more on the gray side.
Yeah, cool. And it's just cool to see how these characters all interact in this world where they're given personalities and dialogue. And of course, the boss battles in this game are weird in that, at least the way I was playing, I was on hard mode, which is required for the true ending of the game.
Pernell Nightmare mode.
Pernell Nightmare, that's right. So what ended up happening was, in order to not have to grind so much, I got to the point where boss battles involved me having to pull off like a really, really good combo within 2 turns, or I would die.
It was at a high enough difficulty, and you weren't grinding enough to have like a normal fight that you had to like have a flawless run.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
And it was brutal too because it ended up got to a high attack and no defense. It was a weird method, which backfired when I got to the post game where I was like, well, now you can't do that anymore. But at least I saw the true ending, so I was able to walk away from it. And unfortunately, the game itself, review-wise, didn't do so hot. But I gotta say, even though it had a ton of flaws, I had a great deal of fun playing it. It's kind of hard to explain how it worked that way, but I loved the game. Would I go back and play it again? I don't know. Like, I tried going back to playing the post game recently, and I was I don't know what I was doing.
Was this PlayStation 1?
PS3.
Oh, PS3, okay. Yeah, I was like, could you play it again? Yeah, I mean, you kept almost everything, so.
Yeah, though admittedly, if someone's listening to this and knows a really good guy that's awesome for fixing or tending to PS3 consoles, my system's fine, but I'm paranoid. Like, I want somebody to do like a kind of tune up to it.
My system's fine, but my brain is crazy.
Oh, you hush your fuss.
Well, we were just talking. I'm saying, like, yeah, you've hung on to a lot of your systems, a lot of your games. You came in with the Neo Geo Pocket, which was the little jingle we played at the beginning of the episode. Because as soon as I heard it, before we started doing the show, I was like, oh my god, that jingle is like, it just
nostalgia
triggered something in me. Playing Bust a Move and playing all those little fighting games.
Crush Roller, hopefully, because Crush Roller was awesome on that thing.
I remember that one.
Crush Roller was that game, one of those games where you're a paintbrush that constantly moves, and you're trying to paint the map in full while also running, like avoiding like things that are trying to crush you. You're trying to crush other things.
Crazy, I never played that. All I had was like I had Gals Fighters. I had King of Fighters, I had Capcom versus SNK, and Bust a Move.
I didn't have a ton. I had Puzzle Link, I had Dark Arms, Beast Buster 99, I had Biomotor Unitron, Card Fighter Clash, Metal Slug.
Yeah, I remember you playing Card Fighter Clash and showing me, and maybe it wasn't on the Neo Geo, maybe it was another game.
No, it had to be, because I have it on the DS, but I don't think I've ever put it in the console.
Yeah, I mean, I remember long ago, you were the one who told me, like, this game is cool, you should be into it. And I mean, being like, that doesn't look appealing to me.
It's still really
Pick a card and play the game.
That's right.
I don't know.
You can beat people up with a card version of Mega Man and a card version of Kyo. What's not to like?
What's not to like? All right, so how about some more music that has nothing to do with all of this heavy guitar business, Pernell?
Switching back and forth.
Okay, this is from Super Street Fighter II Turbo Grandmaster Challenge for the 3DO. And this is a track called Ready to Fight, which is the ending theme, originally composed by Yoko Shimomura, and it's arranged with vocals on the 3DO, but I couldn't figure out...
Vocals, you said.
Yeah, so I couldn't figure out who did the vocals and who the singer was. But apparently this is also the same version that was released on the FM Towns Japanese computer system.
I already know this is going to sound good, man.
It's a little crazy. So since the FM Towns is like a Japanese-only computer system onto the Panasonic 3DO, which, you know, was notorious for having some pretty...
Risque
Yeah, like risque as in like maybe this game is going to be crap. I don't know.
Risque as this is a dangerous game.
I know that the load times on this game are insane. So this is interesting. This is Ready to Fight, composed by Yoko Shimomura, and arranged by Unknown. All right, if you're not standing up in your chair right now, man, I don't know if this song hasn't gotten to you.
Oh, that. What was this again?
This was from, okay, this was Ready to Fight, which is the ending theme to Super Street Fighter II Turbo Grandmaster Challenge for the Panasonic 3DO. This was originally by Yoko Shimomura, but it was arranged for the 3DO and for the FM towns. And on the 3DO version, apparently had Japanese and English sort of lyrics. So, Pernell, I have one thing I have to say to you.
What?
Don't forget to try to do the best that ever will begin.
Ready, set, go.
Let's go.
So I felt this in my bones. Like to put in perspective here, the timing of you picking this track couldn't have been better because over the last week or two, I've actually been getting back into like that 90s J-pop sound.
Yeah.
So 90s J-pop for me never made sense as to what the deal was for me. Like I would listen to it, and I was a teenager, and I would listen to it. I felt embarrassed. Like not only is it pop, which is already embarrassing for me, but it's pop that I don't understand, and yet the fact that I didn't understand it made it easier to digest.
It's almost like you can appreciate it as an acoustic, not as acoustic.
It's another instrument.
Yeah.
It's just another instrument. And when you're listening to it, you're kind of bopping your head, and you can't help but smile to it.
Like instrumental. Oh my gosh.
Like I've been listening to Pink Sapphire again recently, which is they were a 90s J-pop band that I liked a lot. And also the old, for anyone who knows like classic anime, the Cat Girl Nuku Nuku OST, which had a lot of songs by Megumi Hayashi Bar on it. A lot of sound that resembles this.
Oh yeah, like mid-late 90s, like Japanese pop music. It's almost like it's like a rediscovery of it on YouTube of people uploading these. It's called City Pop Records in Tokyo. I think it's a label, but they have this kind of sound, and they're just coming up on YouTube in like these big compilations, and they're really cool.
Did you ever watch Bubblegum Crisis back in the day?
I know I've seen some episodes, but it wasn't something I ever got into.
I was about to say, I thought
is this kind of like that?
Well, if I remember correctly, in addition to being the heroes that they were, one, if not all of them, were also like, I want to say they were like a pop band or something.
Pop idols or something.
Because I know at the beginning and end of, well, not the beginning, but the end of every episode, they had an original song, like an original pop song that would play. And there were some ridiculously catchy ones. Like Chase the Dream was my favorite one. But there was just a number of just great tracks that to this day have stuck with me. Now, I never got into the later attempt to make it modern as like Bubblegum Crisis 20, some stupid futuristic thing.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, yeah.
But the classic Bubblegum Crisis was the bee's knee. It was legit. And again, hearing songs like this, imagine growing up as an inner city black kid and you're walking down the street with this coming out of your headphones and someone stops you and goes, "Yo, man, what you listen to?" You're like, Will Smith?
My radio the dial just turned on its own. I don't know what this is.
Oh no, they don't hear it because I'm not giving them my headphones.
Oh, I see.
I'm like, oh yeah, man, Will Smith. Yeah, whatever new thing he did, awesome stuff.
Big Willie Gangster's Paradise. All right.
Digital Underground.
See you later.
Gotta go. And someone's listening just right now. It's like Digital Underground. Jesus, Pernell.
Oh man, I have an album of their. It's got instrumentals from what's the big one they did? The Humpty Dance.
Yeah,
but it
was a terrible song, but we liked it.
But it's mainly the single of Sex Packets. It's like four remixes of that track. It's really adult. It's and immature at the same time, as you would imagine.
I just realized something. I'm doing all these workouts now. This is what I should be working out to.
Yeah, what are they playing at the gym? Because
I realized they have a Spotify playlist.
Okay. Oh, so they have their own
their own Spotify playlist. There's always generic, not generic, but typical popular R&B, rock and R&B, not even R&B, but rock and R&B.
But it's mainly like current pop type stuff.
Yeah, current pop and rock music.
Because I used to walk by the CrossFit over on the riverfront, and they'd be blasting out of the gym, classic rock, and that is this annoying like hair metal stuff that I've never been into, and I'm like, oh, that would drive me insane.
Makes me want to come up with a playlist and then go on and hand the monitor $5. Like, hey, step back, I got this. And just change their OST. Like, what the heck is this crap?
The last gym that we went to for the Goju karate place, every workout was just like old school hip hop, but like sped up a little bit.
Is that a topic idea?
Ooh, all right. Yeah, workout music.
Yeah, buddy.
Because this was like 90s aerobics workout music.
I would throw down to this.
All right, what's your final track?
All right, so my final track for this episode, because now I think I know what I think I'll make the last one like the end of game track, because it seems like it would be a better fit. So this track is actually from another game called Cannon Spike, and it is the third boss theme from the game. And I just realized I have no idea who composed it. I should figure that out.
Well, we'll find that out while the song's playing. But this is the third boss theme?
Yes.
Cannon Spike for the Sega Dreamcast.
Welcome back. You're listening to the third boss theme from the game Cannon Spike, composed by, I don't know which individual did it, so I'm just going to name everybody. Masaki Izutani, Toshiya Kobayashi, Kaori Kumakura, and Kinsuke Sato. So, Cannon Spike was one of the mini games that people would likely reference when you talked about the weird titles that would show up on the Dreamcast.
This is a weird one.
It's a very weird game.
Very different. You got Cammy from Street Fighter running around on rollerblades.
Yep.
You got King Arthur, or just Arthur from Ghouls and Ghosts, running. I guess
he just runs.
Right. He just runs. And then you had
Mega Man.
Mega Man. You had Charlie from Street Fighter.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Bonnie Hood or BB Hood.
Oh, BB Hood was in that.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Well, she was strapped already. She had
and she came prepared.
Yeah, she had all the guns already.
And the game itself, like, all these characters were in this game, and yet there was no real plot. There was no reason for any of them to be here.
Yeah. Giant robots shooting at you, and you just run around and shoot back.
Yeah, and even the transitions made no sense. Like, there'd be a level, all the levels usually involved you being on one screen that would pan in and out, and enemies would come from all sides, typically.
Yeah.
And you got a normal attack, you had two super moves, and that may well have been it. And after you killed every enemy on the screen would go black, and they would just transition you to a whole other screen where you fight the boss of the stage. So, and that would involve a number of weird things. Like, I remember one of the levels that this boss theme played on, it was like 3 robotic brothers. And you had to fight each brother individually. And then another level, you were snowboarding down a mountain, fighting a giant machine. Whatever. But what I do know is that it was a ridiculous amount of fun to play. However, in my lifetime, it was another one of my tragic. So Electronics Boutique has a 10-day return policy. Yep. I'm going to exploit it. Failure stories because
we would return the games and then get something else, and then we would never have this one in our collection ever again in the future.
Yep.
And now this is like gone forever.
It's hard to find because it's expensive to buy unless I'm forgetting something. But last I checked, this is not a cheap game to get on the secondhand market.
Not something Capcom's about to re-release because it's so strange and all of the franchises are so disparate.
It's sad too because this would be perfect for the present day society. Because like the reason why I returned it is because it was a full retail release.
Yeah.
But the game itself is really short.
Super short. Yeah, it was a lot of big boss fights, but even they were not that long.
Yeah, the longevity of the game was in using different characters and also just not dying because the game got really hard on like the last 3 stages or so.
Yeah.
But it's still Musically, it's spectacular. Gameplay-wise, it's simple but very fun, and it's just friggin' weird. Chaotic, one might say.
Yeah, no, very chaotic. This game is bonkers. It is wild, the amount of stuff that happens on the screen. I remember like not being able to follow it all and not being into it when it came out. But now I wonder if I would have the same issue now.
I think you'd like it.
I don't know. Like, do we get better at video games as we get older? No, I don't think so.
We might. I believe that while our ability would get better, like our skills, like if we were to process and analyze the situations, like okay, do this now, this, and this, we'll get better with planning our gameplay. But reflex-wise, we ultimately get worse because our brains slow down and our fingers even don't work like they used to. As corny as it may sound.
No, with professional Street Fighter players, like a lot of younger like that's the big difference now is like Daigo Umehara and Justin Wong, like they're like the old guard now. Like Alex Valle, like they've been playing Street Fighter professionally since like 2, right? Or Alpha or whatever. So like they're so much older than all of the new players now playing Street Fighter 5. So their reaction times, like they really have to work at it to keep up with like, okay, being able to do a super within this really tight time frame or being able to react to something that's happening super fast. But age comes with experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, our experience comes with all the age. So like they're able to read their opponents better. They're able to memorize things faster. Like it's really interesting to see different play styles from different age groups within Street Fighter.
That's why I think if you were to say take a bunch of games and say how's esports going to work for this, I think if you took a bunch of puzzle games and strategy games and lined those up as esports games, I think the old guard would probably fare way better than those because reaction times may still be required in like a puzzle game, but overall time is not as much of a factor in those games as it is in a fighter. So if you want to make an esports magical drop game, Batman. Though I haven't contemplated buying, they recently released Puyo Puyo Champions, which is supposed to be an esport version of Puyo Puyo.
Oh, I saw a Puyo Puyo on PS4. Was that the one?
Yeah, I think so.
Puyo Puyo
it's
Champion?
called Puyo Puyo Champions.
Yeah, it was. I almost bought that over the last weekend. It was either that or just Beats and Shapes. And I think I got the right one for me because I love that game.
I'm honestly considering buying that when I get home tonight.
Yeah, you came over while I was playing that. And I was like, this is crazy cool.
I agree.
Yeah, you want to turn that music all the way up.
It's got Chipsel, folks. Like Tim, if you're listening, Chipsel's all over it.
Amazing soundtrack. All right, Pernell, you gotta do me one. So am I gonna do old school handheld or new school handheld?
Crap, that's a tough call.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always you know what? Given the nature of the episode, we've done a lot of new school, so put the old one out.
Put the old one in? Okay, so this is Mega Man Extreme for the Game Boy Color.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, this is Magnus Centipede, composed by Yuki Iwai, originally for Mega Man X2, and this is arranged for the Game Boy Color by Toshio Kajino and Sayori Utsumi. This is Magnus Centipede from Mega Man Extreme for the Game Boy Color, composed by Yuki Iwai and arranged for the Game Boy Color by Toshio Kanjio and Sayori Utsumi.
I seriously feel like after listening to this track,
yeah,
I want to do a whole episode devoted to like quote-unquote downgraded tracks.
Oh, yeah. The stuff ported from other systems onto the Game Boy Color.
Yes.
Or Game Boy, yeah.
Because, fun fact, I actually knew about Mega Man Extreme 1 and 2 skipped them both because my mindset was, why would I buy this when the superior game is clearly the Super Nintendo game? But what that also means is that I've never heard the Game Boy OST for either of those games.
Right. So Mega Man Extreme for the Game Boy Color is like a port of Mega Man X1 and 2, levels of Mega Man X1 and 2 onto the Game Boy. And so I didn't see any gameplay of it, but I listened to the soundtrack today and I was like, wow, it's so interesting how they picked different parts of the melody to be more in focus with the limited sound channels than it was on the Super Nintendo. And it sounds really cool. Like this opening section almost sounds kind of sad. But like you said, that little bass sound, that
it stands out as its own beat that doesn't even. I mean, it's obviously meant to compensate for something that's on the Super Nintendo version, but to me, it makes it sound completely different in a way that I love.
Yeah, this track on its own stands up on its own. It's really interesting.
Like, and I honestly kind of wonder. I just have to look this up later if the same composer worked on both tracks, or if this is a different guy than what composed the original.
This does remind me that it was Yuki Iwai from Mega Man X2. She worked on Pocket Fighter.
Really?
Along with S.O. Abe.
Huh.
Yeah. So that was the connection between those two games. So yeah, a lot of the Capcom composers worked on like a lot of different things, especially on the early days.
Well, I gotta say, I'm 100% glad I was like, go with the old, because I'm glad to listen to this.
Yeah. We might have we might release some extra like tracks like on Facebook or something. Be like, hey, this is other stuff we wanted to pick for today's show because we had a lot of crazy stuff.
And I can definitely say that.
You looked behind me and I was like, oh crap.
What is that? It was a moth.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't play Mega Man Extreme, but I was a major fan of the Game Boy regular Mega Man games.
Yeah.
So similar logic behind those. Every Mega Man Game Boy game combined bosses from 2 of the games in the NES lineup.
Right.
Which meant that you got a weird hodgepodge of boss weapons and weaknesses between, on each game. So it made them almost feel like new games. In fact, I had my first exposure to Mega Man 5 bosses because of the Game Boy Mega Man 4.
Okay.
Because I had never played Mega Man 5 at that point.
Now, back when a really early episode, we did like our Mega Man boss battle.
Which, for the record, I would like to redo that.
The last track of that episode, my cousin Mike, he gave us, it was like, I think it was Iceman or Cold, what's his name? Iceman? Coldman? Iceman?
Well, both of those are real Mega Man bosses, so I couldn't tell you. There's Iceman, there's Coldman, there's Chillman. Iceman's the original.
Iceman, yeah. It was Iceman. No, it was Elecman. It was Elecman, his theme, but for the Game Boy. But it was arranged differently on the Game Boy, even though it was like almost, it's nearly, it could be considered, composed as identical hardware, but it was completely different.
Yeah, they all sound, I mean, at least in the most minimum, they sound slightly different, but it's different up there. It's like,
they added like different
little
bits to it or extra percussion. It's really cool. So anyway, I'm going to turn this track down, and we're going to get into the part of the show we call the bonus round.
Bonus round, bonus round, bonus round. Bonus round. Time to listen to some tunes.
The bonus round is your chance to do the Humpty Dance.
Time to do the dance.
No, the bonus round is the part of the show where we normally play covers and remixes and arrangements based on our theme. We've been doing a lot of different weird covers and arrangements already on the show. So I am, again, really curious about what you've got for the bonus round.
I admittedly went fairly simple with this one. I went with a track that I am a fan of primarily because I originally heard it, not in normal context of my usual stuff, but like I learned about it because some of their tracks are in a video game that I used to play at the arcade called Crossbeats.
Oh, okay, yeah.
From this album, and the album it's called We Are Rockmen. In this case, We Are Rockmen 2, and it is the Napalm Man stage remix done by Masahiro Aoki on this album. It is really good.
On Crossbeats.
It's also on Crossbeats, but it's from this album.
Okay, cool. Let's listen.
Well, that was a solid track that I could clearly see looped or easily see looped ad nauseum indefinitely, and I would not even care. What the heck was that? It was the Napalm Man stage remix done by Masahiro Aoki from the We Are Rockmen 2 album. So, like I said earlier, the way I learned about this album was because in the game Crossbeats, there is, if I remember correctly, it was you almost would know already just by virtue of what's the most popular friggin' Mega Man song that should not be the most popular. Dr. Wily's Stage 1 from Mega Man 2 from this album is on that game. So made me want to go and listen to the rest of the album. And of course, this is a standout because even though...
Oh, Napalm Man wasn't in the game, but it was... You recognize there's a whole album of this music because you went and sought the album out.
Yes.
And then you heard this track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, Mega Man 5 has got some amazing music.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, it's never been I wouldn't call it my favorite Mega Man game, even though it still has some really cool stages in it.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I were to go pound for pound on like lining up every track in the game and compare it to others, it may be my favorite composition in the Mega Man Classic series.
Yeah, I think for me too. Like when you look at the Game Boy ones and the NES games, I think 5 for me musically is I think it's my favorite.
You got Gravity Man, you got Wave Man, you got Napalm, Charge.
You just ended on Gravity Man. I think that for me that's the best. It just stops Gravity Man full stop.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so my track is from Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, the online edition that came out, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. I guess maybe longer than that. Originally on the Xbox 360 and PS3. This is music. This is the opening menu theme. I believe it's also composed by Hideki Okugawa, who did the original music. But instead of being a remix of the opening theme, it's a completely new song called Knock You Out. And this
Mama said?
Yeah, this is like get up and put your hands up in the air and fists up in the air and get all excited. Is not the vocal credits are to a Swedish rapper named Adam Tensta, and I don't believe that's the original rapper from Third Strike. But this is Knock You Out, the menu theme.
Mama said. Let me stop.
Mama said?
Every time I'm just thinking that's what comes
from Third Strike Online Edition. Knock You Out.
I won't do it. I was tight. I was tempted though.
Welcome to the world of Street Fighter 3. Prepare for battle. Knock you out as I stare at myself in the mirror, and the noises around me fade. No fear for my health, never give up. Though the voices around me say it's a long shot, it'll never happen. To put their money on that as they laughing. I know I'm up against the best, but we fighting in the streets, left, right, left. Don't want it. This is what I live for right here. You think I go for cause the light split? Like I don't know what this life is. Think again cause I won't know hype is. Ever what they painted up to be. And the underdog is evidently the one who got more to win. I'ma make it taste the ground, here's my hot king. You know what they say, the third strike is what counts. You know, and you can get it too. Don't think that I can knock you out. I'ma knock you out. Knock you out. Knock you out. Knock you out. Don't think that I can't knock you out. I've been waiting for this moment. This is what I spill my blood for. Always be up early mornings, every day, even when I wasn't up for it. So you see, you don't need to believe. Either way, you are our enemies. As I travel around the globe and I go against you, that's my fighting code. Now you know what my intentions are, and you know that I came from afar. But if you study my style, cause I study yours and I know who you are. I know you, and I know all your weaknesses. In the eye of a needle is exactly what I came to do. And I ain't leaving till I beat you, I ain't here to lose. Knock you out. Knock you out. Yeah, you know what they say. The third strike is what counts, and you can get it too. Don't think that I can knock you out. Knock you out. Knock you out. Knock you out. Don't think that I can't knock you out. resurrection. You know what they say, the third strike is what counts. You know, and you can get it too. Don't think that I can knock you out. Knock you out, knock you out, knock you out, knock you out. Don't think that I can't knock you out. Yeah, you know what they say, the third strike is what counts. And you can get it too. Don't think that I can knock you out, knock you out, knock you out, knock you out. Don't think that I can knock you out. It's over.
That is
It's over.
Knock You Out, the menu theme from Street Fighter III Third Strike Online Edition, composed by Hideki Okugawa with vocals by Adam Tensta, not Infinite from the artist Infinite from the original Third Strike series.
I gotta say, I'll have to admit to a bit of shame in being the guy who was like, "Is that the guy from the other one?" It sounds similar. But
Well, it's like, oh, is a guy rapping about playing Street Fighter? Like,
it's
I know
gotta
that
be
guy.
the same guy. No one else raps about Street Fighter.
No, when
one.
I first downloaded Online Edition and you turn it on and this song plays, it gets you so pumped to play Street Fighter. It's so exciting.
There's something to be said about the right song being used as an intro to a game.
Yes.
Like when a company picks a song that's so good that you actually don't skip the intro when you boot the product up.
I listened to it all the way through.
That's success.
All the way up to where he goes, Resurrection. I love that. Well, so for more information on the bonus round part of our show, go to rhythmandpixels.com. We have links to Bandcamps and SoundCloud pages and everywhere where you can download the music, buy the music, and support the artists.
Spam cam.
Thanks for joining us on episode 18-5 of Rhythm and Pixels, our Capcom Chaos episode, where we played music Capcom related, games that were related to Capcom somehow,
We
Capcom
just picked some
franchises.
music.
We had some crazy stuff today, all over the board.
We reached into a sack and pulled some music out. It was good.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a grab bag, is what you're saying. A little bit of a grab bag.
But it was a good grab bag.
Yeah. I'm really proud of the music that I found. I'm really, really happy with what I found for the show.
I'm
And-
still not sure how people will take to the music I picked, but I still enjoy picking it at all.
I liked it. I mean, you had like a lot of heavy guitar, a lot of like strong melodies with like violins and stuff, and the heavy like guitar solos.
And then
It's always a crowd pleaser. Come on.
and the funny thing is, like, I thought about putting this earlier in the show, but I was like, but then I'd want to play these other tracks, and I don't think any of those would have been good for the close of the show.
Yeah,
But this is solid.
yeah. The rest of mine, I might post up somewhere else. But yeah, this is from the Neo Geo Pocket Color game, Capcom versus SNK Card Fighters Clash. But this is for the link mode. So this is when you're actually linking up with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Back when you had to have two copies of the same game, two systems, and a cord. Remember those days? I don't want them.
And yeah, turn them on at the same time.
Yeah, it makes me sad because
Because
like,
you know all your friends who had the Neo Geo Pocket.
you're all one of them, and that friend did not have card fighters.
That was
No, you had one too,
Yeah, it
but
was-
we weren't hanging out back
It was
then.
Katsucon, and it was as soon as I got there, I saw someone else had it, and I was like, "This is the only place in like the world that I know someone's gonna have the same game and system." And right there, we played some fighting games. It was cool.
The funny thing is that one of my con friends, and wouldn't be surprised me if it's the same guy you're referring to, and you don't even realize
I
it.
don't even remember.
But his name is Stefan. He's a old friend of mine that I met back in my early con days, and he's big into fighting games and SNK type stuff, and also, of course, he had a Neo Geo Pocket. And fun fact, him and some of the people in that PA circle will still bust out Neo Geo Pockets for versus mode in Pennsylvania when they have like their game meetups.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh yeah, like every year, like hey,
Oh,
I
the-
get
the-
invited to. It's like, hey, Pernell, bring your Neo Geo Pocket color.
This is the Neo Geo. The
Neo
Neo
Geo
Geo
group.
party. The Neo Geo party.
Yeah, I'm like Pernell, bring your Neo Geo Pocket color, and I always forget. I'm like crap, I brought my Switch though, and I don't even use it because we're playing like freaking Atomus Wave and
I was
like,
gonna say,
Magical Drop 3
that,
tournaments.
that weird dolphin Metal Slug game.
It's so good
It's
though.
crazy.
It's so good.
Well, actually, on another VGM podcast, the XVGM Radio, they did a whole episode dedicated to that game.
It made me happy to see
Yeah.
that too because it's one of those games where I only learned about it because of that party, and I didn't know of anyone else outside of that room that had heard of it.
I've only ever heard of it because of 8 on the Break up in New Jersey.
Oh, they had it?
They had it, yeah. I was up there for some DDR tournament, and there's a couple guys who just were like, you know what, not playing the tournament. They dropped like $20 in quarters and said, we're finishing this game.
That sounds about right. Because
That's what they did.
Those last boss alone just drinks your money.
I was like, this game looks cool. How was it? And he's like, it was expensive.
Because like there's a lot of attacks that are just cheesy and
Yeah.
damn near impossible to dodge.
It's a cool game.
And it's also one of those games where you can't hold the button to fire, so you're mashing it, and you're like, my
Yes.
thumb hurts.
I do remember hearing the button getting like mashed a whole lot. So I probably wrecked the machine.
There's some serious cruelty to that, by the way, when the company's like, we're gonna make you press the button for every shot.
Yes.
How many bullets does this boss take? About 500. That's just the boss. It took many presses to get there, too. And yet those springs never let up. They could take the pressure and keep on firing.
Well, if you would like to, keep on up with us, why don't you send us an email and say hello?
At rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
That was the smoothest segue.
It really was.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you...
Gosh, crap, I should have let you get to... Now your ego's up. Crap, no!
Oh, I'm so good at this. Finally. Yeah, so if you would like to send us track recommendations or episode topic recommendations, or if you're in a band, or if you know someone who's in a band and you'd like for us to know about it, please let us know. If you want more information about our show, a full track listing from all the episodes, access to download all the episodes and everything else that we're doing, go to the website.
rhythmandpixels.com.
Yep, everything is right there for you. You can also go to all the social media outlets. On Facebook, we have a group called Rhythm and Pixels Chat. And you can see us on Twitter, and you can see us on Instagram, and everywhere else. It's Rhythm and Pixels, all one word. Go to youtube.com/Rhythm and Pixels. We have episodes that are released are going out there, too. If that's where you listen to podcasts, maybe, you can do that there. And we also have a 24/7 radio station of 8-bit and 16-bit classics.
Spoiler alert, it's the bee's knees, baby.
Pretty awesome, so go check it out. youtube.com/Rhythm and Pixels. And if you'd like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/Rhythm and Pixels. And there you get access to live streams of us doing the show every month. Every month.
We suggest ridiculous games for Rob or I to try to play. We won't guarantee, but we sure as heck try.
Yeah, we try to play. Pernell will try to play handheld games during the show. We crack jokes at each other. It's a fun time.
Eat hot peppers.
We also like to thank all of our Patreon subscribers at the end of every episode. So we'd like to thank that Nick Walker, Alex the Messenger, Steve Miller, the Autistic Gamer 89, Cameron Werma, Christopher Shenstrom, Damian Beckles, Bobby Arson from the band One Up Funk, Wicked Sephiroth, OK Impala! Exclamation. Carlito, Kung Fu Carlito from the Heroes 3 podcast, Henrik Anderson from the Commodore 64 Camouflage podcast, Michael Bridgewater from the Forever Sound Version podcast.
Speaking of which, Michael Bridgewater hit me in the head with a mix from the UK. He sent me an album of tracks of his. Now I got to get off my lazy tookus and compile my music album to send it back.
Send him some American stuff.
Well, I got a feeling that a lot of my junk will be from the UK too. So it's going to be kind of funny how that works, huh?
Oh man, we love Michael. Michael's a good guy. Thank Brian Pitt. We thank Morton Gangso. Thank Chris Murray. Thank Jupiter Jazz. Thank Solus Sanctuary. Mix 6 Master, John Jekyll, Joe Vasallo, Chris Steenerson, and David Smith.
Everyone on that list is the bee's knees
Yes.
as well. Clearly I have an affinity for the words bees and knees.
You're all bees knees, so get over it.
Call me mint jelly, because I'm speaking a lot of weird words.
Next episode, actually, I'm going to be out of town, so we have a special interview and mix. So, we'll have some previews out for that. The full interview is going to be on Patreon. So we'll have some stuff coming out before the show comes out, but it's going to be mostly a mix of music and a cool developer interview.
It was actually a lot of fun to do, and I have a feeling that you guys will enjoy it as well.
I was really excited that we got the whole team in it. So we teased that enough. So that'll be for next week. But for now, thanks for listening to the show, Rhythm and Pixels. My name is Rob Nichols,
and my name is Pernell Pumpernickel Jingleheimer Schmidt, and that really tall dude.
Prenell.
Before or Pernell like a cat.
Oh, that's a good one.
So many.
So nice. Thanks for listening, and have a safe week.
And remember, perseverance is a key. Take it like a button that's being matched to play Dolphin Blue. Every hit is going to just make you stronger. You'll get better, you'll do better, and eventually, whatever boss you're trying to topple will go down. Whatever feat you're trying to accomplish will be accomplished. And if those things don't happen, you'll get experience from attempting to do so. Can't find a date? Keep trying. Something will happen. Maybe your silver tongue will become more silver. Is that possible? I think it is.
You just gotta level up.
Gotta level up. Level up your silver tongue until it becomes a gold tongue. Those keyboarding programming skills, well, soon you go from being like a mild-mannered, typist to a super secret hackathon. That's not even a real word, but I'm trying. It's so odd.
No, hackathon is a thing.
A hackathon is a thing, but a hackathoner is a thing that is using a word that is not real. But ultimately, the point is to keep trying to do the things you want to do. And if sometimes it requires you to look at it from a different angle or perspective to take another tackle on it, then make that your move. Because giving up, unless it's something you truly just don't have a desire to do anymore, is a fool's bet. Get that win, baby. And if you want to challenge me in Magical Drop 3, I'll take that challenge. I want to play. Let's drop. Hey! Have mercy, Bray! I hope you don't mind.